Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Very happy to be with you today for that session. So today's session will be dedicated to social innovation and employee engagement. So we have a 30 minutes together. So we'll have a, let's say, 20-minute presentation, and then we will keep time for question and answers. So I will not read the question during the presentation. So if you want to jump in, please turn on your mic so that I can hear you. And anyway, we will keep the questions and open for discussion at the end. I'm also really interested to get your ideas, feedback, also sharing your experiences, because I'm quite sure you also have lots of ideas and experience on employee engagement, for example. So please feel free to jump in and add any question to the presentation. So just to introduce myself, I'm Clémence. I'm in charge of social innovation at Groupe Rocher. And to be honest, when I said that I'm in charge of social innovation, people don't really understand what it means. So we will have a time for definition. But to make it briefly, I often say that in corporate social responsibility, I'm the social part of it. So let's say that's an easy translation. But I'm also interested to know where you are from. So if you can just add in the chat box, maybe your name, the country where you're from, just so that I know where you are and who you are around the table. Sweden, okay. Malmö, Sweden, okay. UK, great. Copenhagen, Switzerland, Denmark, UK, Sweden. Okay, great. Paris, okay, a French person. Nice to see you. Germany, great. Finland, super. I'm based in France, so I'm not currently in Paris, but I live in Brittany, west part of France. So it's super interesting to see that we have different nationalities and different countries, because I guess when we talk about employee engagement, the cultural part is having a huge impact. So please feel free to share any experience that you may have on that topic. Just before we start, I just wanted to ask you a small question. So I will try the pulse functionality. You should have a question popping up on the screen. So you can just tick one of the boxes so that I can see how much you know about social innovation. So that gives an idea on, do you know what social innovation is, and do you think your company is working on social innovation? So maybe you don't know, maybe you think so, maybe a little. Okay, great. Thanks for this. Thanks for these insights. Okay, let's now jump into the topic. So before I go in social innovation definition, I just wanted to share with you a small explanation of the context of my business context. So I'm working in Groupe Rocher. So it's a family business. It was founded in 1959 by Yves Rocher. So you may know Yves Rocher brand, for example. It's a cosmetic brand. But we do have 7 brands in the different parts of the world. Majority of brands are cosmetic ones, but we also have a textile one with Petit Bateau. And we have a 2.2 billion sales per year, about 50 million customers in the world. And we produce most of our products in France, in Brittany. So we have our own factories, and we produce 340 million products per year. And we have a small part of subcontracted products. Majority of them are in France and Europe. And since we will talk about people, we have more than 13,000 employees in the world. So these are direct employees. We also have an extended network of salespeople, so people who sell the product of Yves Rocher, for example, but they don't have a direct contract with us because they are independent sellers or franchises. And just to say also a few words about people, because we will talk about social aspects. Most of our people are salespeople. They are working in the shops, in point of sales. So big majority are here. We also have people in manufacturing sites and logistics sites, and we have people in offices. But since we will talk about company culture and change management, it's important to notice that most of our people do not have a professional email. So when we want to communicate and to change the culture, it's a lot about the managerial culture, and we count a lot on our on the field managers to lead the changes and bring social innovation at the top. And one last point about Groupe Rocher is that we do have a corporate social responsibility strategy. I mean, like any other company, that's not something different from any company. So we work on natural ingredients, we work on eco-design, on carbon footprint, water footprint, plastic usage. We have also beautiful and numerous sustainable botanical supply chains. We also have philanthropic activities with donations. We also have foundations. So the Yves Rocher Foundation has planted more than 120 million trees already. And we are also working a lot on social aspects, on diversity and inclusion, for example. And we have a 51% women in our direction committees. So we are putting a lot of energy in the CSR and our social and environmental impacts. But I mean, most of companies, I hope, are doing so. What is really specific about Groupe Rocher is that we are a mission-driven company. So we are tied by law. So it's framed by law in France that we do have, let's say, a common good mission, which is to reconnect people to nature. It means that on the top, and in addition to the CSR strategy, we do have an additional mission, a voluntary one, which is to make a little something more to make sure that people can feel reconnected to nature, and also making them willing to protect nature. So we have two major ways to do it. The first one is having some awareness sessions of experiencing the reconnection to nature, and awareness session on why we need to do something about biodiversity, climate change, water consumption. And we are also working a lot on training to make people skilled enough to address these huge challenges. So we are also putting a lot of energy on that mission, and we have committee, a specific and dedicated committee to drive that mission. And it's composed of different stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders. So we have a multi-stakeholder committee to make sure that that mission is not only communication and greenwashing, but it's also concrete actions with impacts. So now let's deep dive into social innovation. So that's where I propose a definition, but you can also have your own one. So what could be social innovation? Social innovation could refer to the implementation of new strategies and practices that address social and environmental challenges while also creating value for the business. So you can here see the triple bottom line of social, environmental, and financial challenges for any company. But it's also about using the company resources, influence, and creativity to contribute positively to the society. So it's really about how you can create a positive impact on the society. So what I will propose now is just sharing and explaining a few things about how we are trying to do this in Groupe Rocher. We are not perfect, so if you have also feedbacks, experience to share, it's more than welcome, but just a few insights, and I hope it could be helpful. The first one is on how to build strategies for a positive impact, and the second one is on the need to align the social practices. So the first step is obviously to know where you are going. So what is your ambition, what is your vision, and how to build a strategy to have that positive impact on the society. And I guess there are different reasons why you could decide to address social and environmental challenges in a company. The first layer, the first step is on compliance. So just to follow the rule and the law. I'm quite sure that in UK, in Sweden, in Denmark, in any countries, in Germany, you do have many laws that imply that any company should take care about social and environmental aspects. So I mean, any company now should deal with these challenges. But then you can go a step further also to align with markets. I mean, any company are also addressing these issues because employees, citizens, the society is expecting companies to deal about them. but you can also go a step further and to embed this into your business model. I mean, to transform or to define and design your business model to be sustainable and to embed these ethical values into your business model. And being a purpose-driven company like Groupe Rocher means that you want and you wish to embed this directly in the way you do business. So it should be directly inside the way you do business and you drive your company targets. And I guess that depending on why you are doing this, the reasons and your motivations, it will have a direct impact on how you are doing. So depending on why will mean you will do it differently from one place to another one. So in Groupe Rocher, the vision, I mean the big vision, the long-term vision is to implement sustainable models that fit the group's missions, which is to reconnect people to nature. So any activity, any brand strategy should be aligned with that mission. So if we now go a little bit more concretely into how we are doing this, we are using methodology, maybe you know about it. It's called OKR, Objectives and Key Results. And the way it is designed means that any brand, any business unit, any entity, department inside the group is referring to the same big objective and then cascaded into the whole organization. And these objectives are split into 4 pillars. The first one is a financial one, profitability. The second one is a social one on people desirability, both on the client aspect, but also on the employee one. The third one is on market share to grow the business. And the last one is on environment. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, but there is no order because the key message here is we do have these 4 ambitions at the same level, also addressed in executive committee, in any board with all these 4 pillars. So we cannot do profitability with not taking into consideration social and environmental aspects. So it's super important to understand that we are putting all these ambitions at the same level and to make it try to be sustainable in the way we do business. So it's doing this at the same time. And if we look more specifically on the example of people desirability, the second pillar on social impact, we do have, for example, an ambition at the group level to have to improve and to work on employee engagement. So that is one of the big key KPIs that the board is dealing regularly, and all teams are working on that one, with environmental growth and profitability KPIs as well. So how this is working, if we go down into organizations, we have 4 topics or 4 drivers, financial, social, and environmental drivers, objectives. And these objectives are split into key results. So any team, any department, then down to each individual has to contribute to these big pillars. So if we take the same example, for example, the objective is to increase employee desirability, then the expected key results for the teams and the department will be to improve or increase the employee engagement score of 0.2, 0.5 anyway. So each team is defining its own targets, but the objective is to contribute to higher objectives. So this OKR methodology, including social, environmental, and financial targets, is really a building blocks of the strategy implementation to make sure that any target, collective and individual, are perfectly aligned with sustainable ambitions. And just to dig a little bit into KPIs, we may have different types of indicators. The first one could be actions conducted, like how many people did you train? But that's a KPI on means, like you are counting how much energy you are putting. But it's even more powerful if you look at key results like the impacts. And when you look at the impacts, you can have, let's say, direct impact KPIs. For example, okay, how many women into top management positions? That's a concrete impact that you can create. But you can also question about perceptions. And it's really complementary to have both KPIs of direct impact and perceptions, because sometimes you may have a gap between what you see and how people feel. And some topics can also be difficult to analyze from a very direct impact KPIs. So for example, on mental health, the best way is just to ask people how they feel. So we are using also perception KPIs to make sure that we capture what people feel and what they think and what is their own perception. So this is how we build the strategy and how we translate into objective and key results at any level of the organization. But then it's also super important to align social practices. And I will now talk a little bit more about HR practices, because what we need to do is to make sure that we want people and we need people to contribute to financial and non-financial performance. So we need our employees to be contributing to these targets. And to do so, we need people to be engaged. We need employee engagement as a mean to maximize the impacts we may have. So we can use training, we can use awareness sessions, we can use the targets as we've seen just before. But so it's a mean, employee engagement is a mean to have a positive impact, but it's also a target as such, because if we want to contribute positively to the society, it should be seen in employee engagement. We should have a higher employee engagement at the end. How people feel about health at work, about relations at work, about recognition, development, etc. So employee engagement is really key because it's both a mean to drive your performance, but it's also a target as such. And in the target, you can then measure action, impact, and perceptions once again. So what we have done in Groupe Rocher is that we have an HR strategy based on 6 pillars that you can see on the screen. The first one is on culture. We have also recognition. It could be financial or non-financial recognition. We are also taking care about safety and well-being at work. We are also taking care about development, training, career development, belonging, including the diversity and inclusion programs. And we are also taking care about self-fulfillment, meaning the meaning at work, why you are happy to come at work and what is the meaning of your daily job. So this is the backbone of the HR strategy, but to do so and to define priorities, we have made a vote. So we asked the 30,000 employees to vote for the preferential action that they were expecting the company to work on. So we made a vote, and the first top one result was on development. So what we understood then was people are highly expecting the company to propose and to develop career opportunities, training opportunities, and professional development opportunities. So this was, let's say, a way to listen to the people and to adapt the HR practices to what people really need. Because what's behind is the conviction that we should ask the ones who knows. So you can, maybe you know this scheme of reverse pyramid, but the people who are creating real value are the people in the shops. They are the people producing the products. They are people in the field. They are the ones who know how to do, what to do. And then ExCom boards are here to give a direction, a vision, a strategy. But then the people who really know how to do it are people in the field. So it's super important to ask them how to do, how they feel, collect ideas, suggestions. So that's why we are having different ways to collect information. So we are collecting information from an HR perspective on action we are doing. Okay, how many people train, how many training hours per year per person. We are also measuring the social impacts. Okay, how many people had a promotion, how many internal, external moves, but we're also measuring the perception, as I've just said before, like how people feel, are they satisfied on training, career development, and also asking for areas for improvement. What would they suggest to do better in the future? And we are also using, once again, we are not perfect, and that's more an intention, but we are progressively implementing some collective intelligence methodologies to raise solutions. So once we have a problem, the idea is to put people together and make them think about what could be the best solution with different brains, with different insights, with different visions on that specific topic, and to make the solution emerge from the field. And we do have an internal network of facilitators, so people who know how to animate and facilitate this type of meetings and of sessions. And we are addressing many topics when we ask people about how they feel, and when we also measure the employee engagement. So as you can see on the screen, we have the let's say standard Eletive questions on feedback, communication, autonomy, meaningful participation, etc. We have added a few ones in the add-on on diversity and inclusion, on corporate social responsibility, and on change management. And what is popping up as really key and super distinctive from Groupe Rocher is that we have very high score on CSR and meaning at work. So giving the meaning of why we are doing business and how we are doing business with a sustainability vision is really fueling the employee engagement, is having a huge positive impact on our employees today. And we are super proud about it. And so maybe just as a conclusion, and I see that we are on time, so what I wanted to share with you today is social innovation is about building innovative strategy to have a positive impact. So why we are doing this is to have a positive impact on the society. But at the same time, it's important to work on HR practices, social practices, to leverage on people engagement, also ask people their ideas, work with them on actions, involve everyone in the improvement plans. And it's a lot about acting with people and for them, but I guess you already know them. However, a last point is it's not that easy. So as any company, we do have difficulties. So these are, let's say, major ones. The first one is to drive financial and non-financial targets. It's not that easy at every level of the organization. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we do have people with no professional email, people, who are spread in the world. So it's not that easy to make sure that it cascades in any place of the world. And having a positive impact on people and on the society in the context that we know is not that easy, because there are external factors, political one, societal one. So, I mean, the world is changing so much, so it's not that easy to have a full control, and we cannot have a full control on that. So we are just trying to put a piece and try to bring our contribution as much as we can. And we also have challenges in addressing all stakeholders. So I mentioned a lot about employees, but we can think about local communities, suppliers, so any stakeholders, internal or external. So it means many people. It's a lot. So trying to involve them, make them contribute, and also think about them when we wish to have positive impacts in the world. And all this should be supported by a strong culture and a managerial culture. So we're also working on managerial culture with training programs and development programs for our managers inside Groupe Rocher. But that's a long journey, and we know where we are going. So now we are just trying to do it good as much as we can. Thanks for your listening. And I will now go into the question and chat box. So thanks for any comments. I will try to see if we have questions. Super cool presentation, much more specific than IKEA. If you have any comments, feedback, so I will go in the Q&A. So how do you check that strategy changes are being implemented without being able to connect with your target audience and rely only on leaders to do it? That's a super interesting question. So thanks for this, because you're right. As I've mentioned, we don't have direct contact with professional email to anyone. So when we ask the employee engagement questionnaire and survey, we address them. We have with Eletive a kiosk code, so we do have the perception measure, and then we can still have the impact. So we have KPIs like on health KPI, training KPI. So we do have information from them. What is more difficult to do is to engage change in how you animate, how you manage your teams, how to make it more collective. So that's why we're working a lot on the managerial culture. So we're investing a lot on managers and field managers as well, because they are the leaders, they are the one who will transform and support the change into the whole organization. What would you advise, recommend regarding employee engagement while almost all employees are working remote, especially how to make it work and make it a success? It's really a challenge for us. Yeah, there are technical solutions to administrate the survey with a kiosk code. So with any device, you just have to scan or to log on a computer, on a smartphone. So you can have technical solutions to collect information from employee engagement. But then it's true that it's more difficult to work with people remote. But once again, same answer. It's about how you engage manager, and what is super important is not only asking questions to the people, is making sure that you are having action plans, and we have a direct correlation between do we have improvement plans in place versus participation rate. So I did not mention, but from the last years we had on a yearly basis more than a 80% participation worldwide in all employee engagement surveys. So we have a very high score, knowing that people are remote people, and it's working because managers, top managers, anyone is putting energy into action plans. So you ask a question, okay, what you do about it? So it's about how you animate the teams and the manager to make sure that something happens after the survey. So I think that is the key. So having a technical solution to address these people, but what is super important is to do something with the results. And if you can do it together with the team, like ask them how they would do to improve, what are their ideas, it's even more powerful because they are contributors and they're active in the process. So this is where we're trying to put energy, because this is how to make it work, and also to make people feel that it's a trustful process. And maybe last question, thank you for your intervention. You mentioned measuring how employees feel a few times. How do you do this? We do have a survey, so it's a questionnaire with a scale from 1 to 5. So we are using Eletive platform, but there are several providers to do so. And there is a comment box, which is super important. So we measure how much they feel on, compensation, training, health at work. So we have a 50 questions questionnaire. Then we can compare internally and externally also to know how we can benchmark on these questions. And we use a lot the comments because it's like super qualitative to know more in details, what are the suggestions, why it's not working, how to improve. So we are using quantitative and qualitative information from our employees. It's done on a yearly basis, but we are progressively putting in place a pulse, so meaning on a quarterly basis or even more often, to have a regular feedback from our employees and to adapt the actions and practices we put in place. So I hope that answered your question. If not, you can, I guess, still add one question, but I see we have maybe one minute left. So thanks for your participation, and I hope you can enjoy all the sessions for today. Have a good day, and see you very soon, everyone. See you, bye-bye.